My name is Krista Zen. I work for a consumer packaged goods company that happens to have a division that works on pet food manufacturing and development. And in my role, I actually manage a team of product developers and sensory scientists who help make sure that we develop the right products to put on shelf for our pet parents and our pets. So I actually started out wanting to be a small animal veterinarian from about the time I was 8 years old. I was single-minded in my focus. I was going to be a small animal vet. I was going to go to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign because I wanted to go to their vet school. And that was the plan. I applied to one school, University of Illinois. I was an animal sciences major with a pre-vet focus. And I actually decided my junior year of college, after finishing all of my really hard prerequisites, that I was really interested in companion animal nutrition. I was working on an honors program within that lab group and really enjoyed the thought of kind of preventing some of the challenges that we see in pet health through a nutritional lens. So it just so happened that I had that connection into that lab group and ended up doing my master's in companion animal nutrition. About the time that I was finishing my master's, the company that I worked for was actually hiring in a role that helped to support health and nutrition within the company, again, focused on pet food and pet care. And so I joined back in 2007 and really got to focus on some research planning, but also just educating others in the business on pet nutrition. Did a lot of trainings and got to learn a lot about the business in that way. And then I moved over into a product development role myself. So while I lead a team of product developers now, I actually got hands on experience for about 5 years or so doing that job and got to design and develop products and actually still see a number of them in market today, which has been really, really fantastic. And so I then made the transition to a leadership role and have managed a couple of different teams within R&D, focused typically on product development. And so really the skills that I had learned in the initial part of my role, even during my education, I think are really, really applicable. I really enjoy the conversations on the team to dig into the nutrition in the product and really the product design. And I really like people. I enjoy working with people, helping them to shape their projects, but also helping them to shape their professional careers. So moving into line management was kind of a natural next step and a good way for me to really help to shape the product still, but also help to shape the careers of others. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the piece of behind a microscope because I think a lot of people assume that if they want to go into a scientific field and if they enjoy scientific areas of study that it has to equate to a lab or even going to, an engineering type role and being really, really focused in on those highly technical day-to-day activities. And I work with a lot of people who do that and they love it and it is their perfect fit in terms of a role. However, you also, as evidenced by my career path, can take those learnings and take that knowledge and translate it into a different opportunity within the business world. And so entry level day to day was a lot of still some meetings, but a lot of work in our pilot plants in our factories to go and actually trial different products, to then work with counterparts to test those products in the labs, to really make sure that the work needed to be done. As a product developer, you actually do scientific work, but you work a lot with other people. So you work with a lot of other functions in marketing and sales and finance, so you have to know your technical stuff, you have to know the science behind it, but you also have to be able to work well with a cross-functional team who likely don't have the same technical depth that you have. So the day-to-day can range from one day full of meetings and then 2 or 3 days full of time in a test kitchen or a lab, and then another couple of days in a manufacturing site, actually working with the operators there to run trial product. And then the cycle just week by week kind of starts over. And there can be a lot of variability based on the types of projects that you're working on. If I think about the transition for me for day to day now in a leadership role, it's a lot of meetings, primarily meetings, which sounds to some people really, really terrible, right? For a lot of people, the thought of just sitting in meetings is a little daunting. But what I get to do in those meetings is have a lot of conversations on a lot of different topics. So some of the meetings are one-on-one coaching sessions with my team members. Some of them are meetings with my team to talk about how we do work better in the future. Some of them are project related. Some of them are business forums where we're making decisions on the future of the part of the business that I work on. And some of them are times for us to reflect as a broader group on kind of the successes and how we move forward. So every day feels a little bit different. There are some meetings that are standing meetings week to week, but by and large, there are so many different brands within the company that I work for and within the area that I work that no 2 days is the same. On average, it's usually about, call it 16 to 18 months. We do have some projects that actually are part of longer term work streams, and you actually might work on those projects for 2 or 3 years before they actually make it all the way to market. And largely that depends on how much we understand about the topic, how much we understand about the consumer need, the pet need specifically, and if it requires anything new from how we manufacture it to how we actually scale it up for market. And so depending on the scope of the work, it can vary a little bit, but we see even some projects that are closer in that we understand how to go do the work fundamentally. We just need to get a team to go do it. Some of those might take 12 months or less if we are aggressive in the timing. Those are few and far between because it takes quite a bit of focus from the teams, but you actually get a pretty wide spread of different types of technical learnings and different types of projects that we actually launch and market. Yeah, so I loved science-based courses, not so much physics, but I enjoyed chemistry, physiology, courses that really got into a little bit more of how the body works and got into a little bit more of what I could see as a future state around veterinary medicine. Interestingly enough, I also love literature and English. I love reading. My family and my cousins that I was close with hated vacations because they would want to go play in the lake or do whatever. And I just wanted to sit there and read my book, which is still a sore spot with my husband today because my downtime is usually just reading. Um, but when I look at the classes that I took and really the focus areas, especially when I got into my undergrad and was able to choose things that were more selective to my interests, really getting into as a baseline, biology tends to be a kind of a year one type of work. But translating that then into animal science specific studies and focus areas around, again, physiology and nutrition and and even the behavioral elements of it are really, really interesting to me. And those things come to play when we look at how we create products and how we put them in market, but sometimes even just how in my business we speak to each other as consumers. A lot of us have pets ourselves. And so we get into some really interesting conversations on what we believe we should see in a product and how we translate that into reality. I would say if this is something you think is interesting, go for it. Don't let the initial view make you think that it's something that you can't turn into a career path outside of kind of a one track around veterinary medicine. That may be your calling and the thing that brings you joy in terms of your career, but there are a lot of other opportunities out there. So explore those, use opportunities to engage with businesses around you and look for those opportunities to just see what's out there. I think if you can find something, be it animal sciences or some other field that makes you feel joy in the work that you do, despite challenges that may come up, then you're on the right track.